Okay, hey everybody, we're making shawarma today. So, different from my regular content on my channel, but stay tuned and hopefully you like it. So we're gonna make shawarma, and we're gonna use a recipe for Palestinian chicken. I'm gonna omit the onion for this recipe. You can use it if you want. If you don't feel like using onion, you don't have to. It's still good without it. So we're gonna omit the shredded onion, but it's still gonna be really good. So first thing we're gonna do is chop up a couple of cloves of garlic. And it calls for 8 cloves. You can do more or less. I'm gonna do a little bit less today, just because I feel like it. But you can use however much garlic your heart desires. I've got about, let's see, 5 cloves of garlic here. I think that'll be plenty for what my uses are. And we're just going to crack it and peel it. Try not to drop it. Hopefully it falls in your lap like it did mine, so that you can catch it and keep on peeling. And I've got a trash can here beside me so that you can just throw away all your offcuts and don't have to worry about trying to clean up later. Now the thing about this Palestinian chicken recipe, I got the recipe from Binging with Babish, which is one of my favorite culinary YouTubers. And so this is an adaptation of his recipe. And that's the thing about cooking. You can always adapt it to make it taste how you want it, no matter where the recipe comes from. So we're going to just kind of, if the garlic is not coming off, you can just cut the head off like that, and then it'll be a little bit easier to peel. You can also peel garlic just however it's easiest for you. There's no right or wrong way when it comes to cooking. It's an experimentation. And that's why I love doing it so much. Okay. And if it's really hard, just crush it. You can take anything that has a solid bottom and just crush it, and then it'll be super easy to peel. And see, that made it a whole lot easier to peel. There we go. Make sure you throw off all the little, and then we're just gonna finely chop this. And you're also going to want to have a decently large bowl for your chicken. And you can, this is the marinade for the chicken. And this marinade will make a lot, so you can just put as many chicken thighs in as you'd like. You can also do it with breast, but I suggest thighs because they are a little bit juicier and a little bit better for the cooking method, because we are going to bake this. But this will also have to marinate in the fridge for at least 2 hours. Optimally overnight, but whatever works for you is what works for you. And then we're just going to rough chop it. So, and just kind of give it a rough chop, and then throw it in your bowl. Hopefully you're not like me and get it everywhere. Okay? Then we're going to take our seasonings. We're going to take 2 tablespoons of coriander, Let's see, that's a half. This is a whole. Okay. And we are just gonna, it doesn't have to be exact, but as close as you can get it is good. And then we're gonna do a little bit of smoked paprika, a little bit of ground turmeric. These are not in the recipe. These are my add-ons because I like the way they taste. We're going to do a teaspoon of ground cumin. And a tablespoon of ground cinnamon. And a tablespoon of allspice. And then salt. As much as your heart desires. If you like a lot of salt, add a lot of salt. If you don't like a lot of salt, don't add a lot of salt. And some ground black pepper. And again, this you can measure with your heart. As much pepper as you will allow. And also I'm going to use a little bit of stir-in basil paste. Just a touch. And then we're going to do a half a cup of olive oil, extra virgin. Let's see. And here's the half cup measure. And just pour in. This has a stopper, so it's going a lot slower than okay. There you go. Oops. Make sure you don't drop your lids on the floor, and you're going to pour that into your bowl. Now you can go ahead and give it a cursory mix if you want to, but we're not going to do that. Next up, we are going to put in 3 cups of Greek yogurt, whole fat, yummy Greek yogurt. I've got the cup measure, and I'm just going to grab a spoon and throw it in and make sure it's packed down. The acid in the Greek yogurt is actually going to tenderize our chicken for us. And then just go ahead and toss that out, and then go ahead and put another cup. However you want to measure this out, all good with me. That's 2. And we got 1 more cup. And just pack it down to where it looks kind of smooth. It doesn't have to be perfect. Make sure you don't make a mess. And now we're going to mix this up and add our chicken thighs. So this is what it looks like. And then you're just going to mix And I'm going to try and show you as I'm mixing it so that you can see. See? Let me grab a whisk. That'll be a little easier. Alright, so we're going to whisk this together because this is what it looks like right now. So you want to get it all incorporated. So you're just going to whisk that together till nice and combined. And you can adjust the seasonings if you wish. I think we're good with our seasonings because this is what you want it to look like. So next thing we're going to do is take our chicken thighs like this, and we're going to slice open the packaging. Now, if you want to go ahead and cut your chicken, you can do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the chicken thighs in here whole. These are just boneless, skinless chicken thighs. And you're just going to plop them into the marinade. And I'm going to push them all the way down to the bottom. And then grab your next thigh and smush it in the bottom. And same with this one. See? Smushing it in to where it gets fully submerged. And then last chicken thigh, press it in so it gets coated on all sides, and make sure it's covering the top of the chicken. And then you're going to put it in the fridge. You can cover it with some plastic wrap, leave it uncovered, whatever you want, for 2 hours. And I'll be right back and we'll get going on the rest of the accoutrements that go along with it. Thank you. Is we're making the tabbouleh salad. Okay, so first things first that we're gonna do is we're gonna chop up some cherry tomatoes. It says 1/4 cup. Really, you can do as many as your heart desires. So let's see. Oh, there we go. And we're just going to chop these finely. And then sprinkle a little bit of salt. We're going to put them on the fine mesh strainer over the measuring cup so that the juice can go, because we're going to have to reserve the juice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by, let's move this out of the way. Let's just move some of these spices out of the way, shall we? If you're anything like me, you make all kinds of messes when you're cooking. So first things first we're going to do is we're going to slice them in half, and then we're going to slice them in the halves in half. So we're going to quarter them, and then we're going to chop them finely. And we're just going to do this until we have as many tomatoes as our heart allows. And I have, you're supposed to use buckwheat or bulgur wheat. I am using quinoa instead. This is a gluten-free quinoa because I try to eat gluten-free when I can, because I do feel better afterwards. It has nothing to do with me going vegan or anything. I just like eating gluten-free. So you can, but you don't have to. And I found this quinoa at Simply Nature at Aldi. So if you are gluten-free, I would recommend this. And so I have some cherry tomatoes sliced, and now I'm just going to go back in and quarter them, and then we'll get to finely chopping. And then we're going to let them chill out in the fine mesh strainer while my quinoa continues to cook. And you just make your quinoa according to the package instructions. You can also use couscous if you can't find bulgur wheat. Or you could just use jasmine rice if you wanted. That would work too. Jasmine rice happens to be my favorite kind of rice. And I'm just gonna slice all these tomatoes. Trying not to smush too hard, not to let all the juices out. There we go. And then you can just move them aside and just create tiny little cuts, and this will finely chop our tomatoes. And I'm not a professional chef by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just an at-home cook that really enjoys cooking at home, and if you do, I think this is a recipe that you will love. And it'll be a really easy recipe if you're hosting a party to, get people to try things outside their comfort zone a little. So, and just and you don't necessarily have to be as small when you're cutting up your tomatoes. It's all in what's kind of like bite-sized to you. And okay, and now we're going to take all of our tomatoes and just put them over a fine mesh strainer. And you see all that good stuff? We want that in there too. So we're going to just take all of that. And I'm actually going to chop up some more tomatoes, and we'll be right back, okay? So next up for the tabbouleh salad, we are going to chop up some fresh parsley and put it on a paper towel lined plate to take out any excess moisture. So we're just going to chop up some parsley. I'm just going to take off the stalks there because we don't need that. We just need the leaves. And so you're just going to kind of pull the leaves off of the stalks. And this can take a little while, but it's fine. I'm using Italian parsley because that's all I could find. But really, whatever parsley you have will work. Italian parsley is not what we wanted, but it'll do in a pinch, which is what we're in. So, and they say half a cup or a fourth of a cup. I don't have that much, so we're just going to use what we have and make do. Recipes like this, I love just kind of altering to make it do what we want it to do with the ingredients we can find and the amounts that we can find, because everybody's struggling right now, so we want to make sure we can make it accessible as possible. And and your kids can help with this. So if you have little ones that love to cook, they'll love pulling leaves off of stems. you know, because I remember being a kid and loving to do this. So just gonna, we have all that. We've thrown our stems away. Now we're just gonna finely chop it. And what I like to do is kind of grab it all up and roll it. It works best with a little bit larger leaves, but you can do it with this too. You just gather it all up, make sure you have no stems, and just kind of chiffon it is what they call it. And that at least gets that first couple of cuts really good. See? Oh, you can't see. The tomatoes are in the way. Okay, so this is what after chiffoning it looks like, okay? And then all you have to do is bring it together again and just kind of, it's chaotic, but it works. And, oh, that smells so good. Feels very fresh and very green. And then you can just kind of pound it with your knife and it'll release a lot of the fragrance, which is also what we want. We just want it finely chopped. So you're gonna want a knife that's really sharp for this. Now, I wouldn't let your kids help with this part unless you trust them and they have really good knife skills. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this on the paper towel. And we're gonna, woo! Don't be like me. Don't spill it all over your table. Thankfully, my table is clean. That's just water from where I rinsed off my chopping board. And then just pick up your paper towel. If you get it on the paper plate, it's fine. Or on the plate, it's fine. Just knock it off. Pick up your little pieces. Pick up your paper towel. Put it back on the plate. And then if you have more little parsley pieces, just see if you can't get them up. If you can't, don't worry about it. It's fine. Things happen. Especially for an at-home cook, and especially if you're me. So we're just gonna gently put the parsley on the paper plate. We're gonna move the paper plate somewhere safe, and we're just gonna add a little bit of salt to help draw out the moisture. And we're just gonna kind of put it in between two and set it to the side. Now we're gonna chop up some mint. I love fresh mint. It smells so good. And again, we're just gonna rip the leaves off. Of the stems. You can do, again, you can do as much or a little mint as you want. I'm going to do the whole container of mint that I have. Because this is the only recipe I have right now containing mint, so I don't want to waste it. Okay. And what we can do is actually stack these leaves and roll them. Just kind of stack them up as neatly as we can. And we're going to chiffon them. And then we're going to cut up a cucumber. That'll be the next thing. So if you don't want to add the mint, you don't have to, but if you do, okay. So we're going to kind of press it down and roll. And then we're going to gently cut into. And then, again, just kind of hack it away. It smells so good. Now we can throw this in our bowl. Now, it says 1 English cucumber. I only have mini cukes, so I'm gonna do 3. And see, that one has a little bad spot on it, but all you have to do is like that. Now, you can peel these if you want. I'm just gonna slice them. And then you can slice these really however you like. I'm just kind of having fun with it right now because I can. The easier way of going about that would be just to slice it in half and then slice it in half again and then just cut them, which is what I'm going to do with the other 2. So you're going to slice first the top and the bottom off. Slice it down the middle once. Well, not quite like that, but that one was curved, so it's fine. Cut that. Slice it down the middle once. Again, try not to slice your fingers. And then slice in half down the middle again. And the same with these 2. And then you can just cut it over the bowl like this. And that's how you get perfectly even quarters. And this is how I peel potatoes, or cut potatoes after I've peeled them for soups and stuff. And that's how you get really consistent. I know if you're a chef, you're gonna look at me and go, I'm crazy for cutting things this way because you're more apt to cut yourself, but this is the way I was taught to cut things. So, yeah. Just be careful. Do it the way you feel safe and the way that's fastest for you. Because ultimately, that is what matters. And see, I can almost just slam the cucumber on the knife and it cut for me. That's how sharp this knife is. Now, you don't want a big hunk like that, so take it, slice it again if you have any big hunks. There. And that part of it's done. Now I'm going to check on my quinoa and I'll be right back. Okay, so I read the directions wrong. You're supposed to boil your quinoa with the tomato juice. We're just going to mix it in after the fact. Here is my cooked quinoa. I did a cup of quinoa. The recipe calls for less than that, but you can cook however much you want. So now we're just going to add this to our bowl. I'm going to need a bigger bowl. And we're going to mix. Let me get a bigger bowl. Okay, so I've got a plastic container here. And we're just going to kind of shake that around and mix it. We're going to add in our tomatoes. And our tomato juice. And we're going to add a little bit of cinnamon. A little bit of coriander. A little bit of cumin. And a touch of allspice. And we're going to go ahead and add in our parsley. We didn't let it sit for 20 minutes, but that's okay. any moisture that's in there. Okay, now I'm going to get a spoon to stir this up. Okay, next up is our tzatziki sauce. So, what we're going to do is, in a bowl, we're going to mix our Greek yogurt, and let me grab, so we're going to mix our Greek yogurt, dill, lemon juice, and shredded cucumber. So I have about a cup of Greek yogurt in each of these containers, and we're just going to plop that in a bowl. So I've got about 2 cups of Greek yogurt all together. You can do, if you want to do less, just do a cup of Greek yogurt. If you want to do more, just do more Greek yogurt. And then adjust your cucumber and your dill to match. Next up, we're going to shred our cucumber. And I'm going to use, again, I think 3, I have more cucumber if I need it. I'm going to start out with 3 mini cucumbers. And we're just going to cut the tops and bottoms off. And then we're just going to take our grater and shred. You know, try to prevent it from going everywhere. And if all you have left is like skin like that, throw it out. Cucumber is one of the easiest things I've grated to date. And we're going to go in with our third. And we're just going to Alright, and we have about that much grated cucumber. I think that's plenty. And we're just going to take this, toss it into our Greek yogurt. And then just dry off my hands from all that cucumber juice, and we're going to take our dill, pop it open, and we're just going to grab some. You can always add more dill, you can't take away. So be sparing with how much you put in, because too much will make it taste like pickles. And so we're just gonna take the dill and because dill is so fine anyway, we're just gonna peel it off of the stalk. And you can just toss it in as is, or if you want to chop it, you can. I tossed a couple in full size, but I think I'm going to chop the rest. And I'm going to get a smaller knife and just kind of gently chop and toss it in. This is something that you're going to have to taste and do it to your taste, because what somebody will like, I may not, and what I like, somebody else may not. So we're just going to mix it up. We're going to taste it and see what it needs. I'm just going to grab this little 1/4 teaspoon and just needs just a slight touch more dill, I think. And then we're going to use the juice of a whole lemon. Again, we're going to, let's see, we're going to get one of the larger lemons from my bag. And roll it. Doing this helps release the juice from the fruit of the lemon. You can also use some of the zest of a lemon. And then you're just going to squeeze that in. If you're using less Greek yogurt, you can use less lemon than I am. If you're using more Greek yogurt, I would go with 2 lemons. And also try not to get the seeds in. If you do, just pick them out. It's fine, but if you get them, don't get them in there in the first place, you don't have to worry about trying to dig them out. And then just grab your handy dandy kitchen towel. And then, so that's what it looks like. We're going to mix that together. Oh, there's another little lemon seed. I could have probably only done a half a lemon, but that's okay. I like my tzatziki a little bit runnier anyway. So next up, we are going to do our tahini, and that is toasted sesame seeds blended with a little bit of grapeseed oil. I'm going to toast the seeds off camera. You just toast them till they get golden brown, and then I will show you how to make tahini. All right, thank you so much and have a great time.